everyone. Hope you all had a great weekend. For me, it was cold and rainy, but not too bad. As for today, it's Monday, which means spooky places. And this week, we shall cover a few spots in Ohio. To start with, we shall talk about the Beaver Creek State Park in East Liverpool, Ohio. Beaver Creek State Park is home to many ghost stories. One of the most well-known legends is Gretchen's Lock. Gretchen was the daughter of Gillius Ham, the man who designed the lock. Gretchen really missed home and she really wanted to return to Ireland. Her father promised her that they would one day return. However, Gretchen died of malaria before they could make the trip back. But her father wanted to keep his promise. He had her coffin entombed in the lock until he could arrange to have her body sent home. The day of the trip came and her father accompanied his daughter's body on the ship. They never made it to Europe though. The boat sank in the Atlantic Ocean. Today, Gretchen's ghost is seen around the lock and many people hear her sobbing. There's another haunted lock within the park which is known as Jake's Lock. Jake was a night watchman who patrolled the lock. One stormy night he was struck by lightning. He fell into the canal and drowned. Today visitors can sometimes see him walking around the lock with his lantern. Some even see his lantern shining under the water at night. There are more hauntings that have nothing to do with the locks though. Favorite is Legend of Esther Hell. Esther lived in Spruceville, I guess that's how you say it, which was a town that disappeared when the railroad became more popular than the canal. She was supposed to marry a man who served in the army. No one knows if he was killed or just decided he didn't want to get married, but one thing is for sure, he didn't return home for their wedding, and Esther was left at the altar. She became crazy after that and wouldn't take off her wedding dress. People would see her wandering around town for weeks wearing it. Then one day the people of town realized they hadn't seen her for a while. They checked her house and found her dead at the kitchen table, still wearing their wedding dress. Today park visitors still see her roaming around the location of the old town. Another haunting at Beaver Creek State Park involves someone known as the Mushroom Lady. Legend has it that there used to be an unattractive woman who lived deep in the woods. She would travel into town and sell sandwiches. She fell in love with a nice man who often bought food from her. They became friends, but the man didn't love her. One day when she met him in town, he had another woman with him. He introduced her as his fiancée. The Mushroom Lady was totally destroyed and furious. She invited the couple to her home for dinner that night. She served them mushrooms which turned out to be poisonous. They died quickly and she buried their bodies in the garden. Today people see her wandering around the woods in the park. One more haunting at the park is the ghost of Pretty Boy Floyd. Charles Arthur Pretty Boy Floyd was an infamous bank robber who reportedly killed around 12 people. J. Edgar Hoover named him public enemy number 1 a few months prior to his death. He often passed through East Liverpool and stayed at the Conkle Farm. On October 22, 1934, local law officers found out he was staying at the farm. They went there, and when Pretty Boy Floyd tried to escape through a field, they shot him. Today his ghost has been seen around the area. Many people have captured his voice on EVP recordings. We now move on to the Buxton Inn in Granville, Ohio. In addition to having a wonderful food and great rooms, the Buxton Inn is supposedly haunted. People hear strange noises, witness objects moving on their own, feel cold spots, and some reports of hair pulling. Interesting. And the last stop for the week is the Golden Lamb in Lebanon, Ohio. The Golden Lamb was founded in 1803, which makes it 200 years old. It's a Ohio's oldest operational inn. Several famous, well-known people have stayed at the Golden Lamb, including Charles Dickens, Mark Twain, Harriet Beecher Stowe, Daniel Webster, and Lord Stanley, who became one of England's prime ministers. The most famous ghost of the Golden Lamb is a little girl named Sarah. Sarah was Isaac Stubbs' niece. He was the inn's manager. However, Sarah didn't die as a child. Some people think it actually the ghost of a little girl who named Eliza Clay, daughter of Henry Clay. Eliza died at the Golden Lamb in 1825 from a terrible fever. Ghostly activity occurs mainly in one specific room. She makes lots of noise and knocks things off walls and furniture. Other famous ghost who is believed to haunt the Golden Lamb is Charles R. Sherman, an Ohio Supreme Court justice who died at the inn in 1829. Ghost is described as a gaunt, gray man who appears in the hallways. Several people have also smelled cigar smoke in this non-smoking building, which they think belongs to him. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the tales for this week, my friends, and wishing you all a spooky night.